I went to sleep early. I got off of work early today, and I do have to go to work in the morning around like 8:30. So I'm like, okay, I got to go back to sleep, but for at least 3 hours. But I don't know what happened. Like I just know I went to sleep early today, earlier than usual. I went food shopping because I got off early. I finished up a lot of my work on time, and then came back. I made two dinners. I made grilled whiting fish. I made my husband chicken quesadillas. I put mozzarella cheese in it this time. I actually was kind of regretting eating the whiting fish because I said that looked good. So I'm gonna make that later on today. But I right after that I wanted to make some cookies. I wanted to make some homemade no sugar added cookies. I was gonna use this coconut flour to do it, and I brought some walnuts and stuff. And I don't know, like I went to go lay down and did a little Bible study, and I fell out. I was asleep. I was just, I forgot to do my nighttime routine and everything. So then I woke up around like 12 something, midnight, after that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, and something was troubling me because, I started thinking about the mouse, right? Because I have a little mouse, little cute mouse that's running around. I haven't seen him a couple of days, but, I was like, I got to clean up because he'll come and leave droppings or he may go and eat. And I don't want to have to hurt him, and I still haven't gotten the mouse trap yet. So then I got up, and I think that's what got me up and started worrying about that. So I started cleaning up the dishes and cleaning the grill out because you have to let it cool down and that was the thing. I was reading my Bible while I was letting that grill cool down. I was letting it cool down. I fell out to sleep. So then I remembered, I think, somewhere in my sleep, I think I was thinking about that. And, I started going nuts. I was like, I gotta clean up. And then I felt like my skin was oily because I have oily skin. So I started washing my face, and then I started brushing up my hair and everything and doing, putting my different, because I put like a little different on because I have, acne. But that's why I'm making that no sugar added cookies because I'm craving sugar, but I can't have it like that. I gotta keep it to a limit. But yeah, it's now 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, why? And then I said, wait, I haven't moved my stomach. I gotta take a laxative. I'm like, I gotta take a laxative. So, I'm gonna go have some. I don't know if I have any prune juice in there. I'm trying to do a natural. I like to do a natural laxative. I don't like to, do anything that's unnatural. So I'm gonna get some prune juice. I'm gonna warm this baby up, and I'm like, I want, coffee will give a good laxative effect. But then at the same time, I don't want to be up because I want to go back to sleep in another like 30 minutes to an hour. So, maybe I'll turn that coffee thing off. I'll try just this. I'll have this and some water, and hopefully in the morning time, I'll feel the effect of it. If I do drink coffee in the morning, maybe it'll do something for me. I don't know. Well, let me put this right here for now. But yeah, I don't know how much is left in here, but it's not a lot, but it's something. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah, it's so little. I'm like, I see. If I have that coffee, I feel like I'm gonna be up. I don't know. I'll microwave this. Yeah, other than that, things have been pretty good. Let me put this on. Let me drink this and want it to be really hot. I always put it on hot, the prune juice. And if I want a really good laxative effect, I drink it with hot coffee. But like I said, I don't want to be up all night, because I want to go back to sleep. Because what will end up happening? If I stay up all night, go to work, I'll be burnt out by the time I come home. So I don't want that. So, things have been pretty good. I've been busy. I didn't even get around to my music today, because I had all these plans today. I was like, oh, I'm going to do my music. I want to sing. And then I went to go lay down, do some Bible study, and I just fell out. I don't know. I was just tired. Maybe it's the heat or so. But I just know that the sun wasn't completely down. That's all I know. When I went to sleep, I still seen like light outside. So I don't know. But today, it's earlier, earlier yesterday. I'm saying today, it was yesterday. In the morning, I was driving and I had something come to my mind, right? Because I remember I had mentioned about when I went to the dermatology office and that lady was like, like asking me weird questions and it was like sexual and all. And it was weird, and she was like trying to fish for information some kind of way. And I do have to go back there. And I'm like, every time I go there, I always dread the idea of seeing her. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to like have her lose her job or anything like that. That's not my intentions. But I don't want her like asking me questions. I'm hoping that when I do go there, there's people around. Like, I don't want to be the last person on the list because I know I requested it. And she was like, oh, how about you do it at the end of the day? And I'm like, why is she trying to put me at the end of the day? She knows darn well I'll be the last person. And the last thing, the last thing she said was, about my husband. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to go and cook or whatever when I get back. And she said, what you cooking? And I said, I'm grilling some fish. She says, does your husband like it? And I said, no, he's not a fish person. And um, she said to me, oh, so he can eat the fish down there, but not the one on the grill. I said, what the hell? I couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I still am shocked that somebody said that to me in the doctor's office. The receptionist. I could not believe that at all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt so uncomfortable. And I don't know, it was embarrassing. She was like, so you and your man don't have sex? And I'm just like, like, all I remember telling her was, we're weird people. I said, we're just weird people. I was just looking, waiting for the lady. And then I was thinking in my head, like, fish? And what do you mean by fishy? That ain't normal for a woman to be fishy down there. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm trying to figure out why would, I always think about like people that fish for information like that. And they're always asking you like questions, like hinting on like, you know, getting closer and sexual questions. I wonder sometimes, are they interested in the sexual way, like they got some kind of fetish, or are they somewhat jealous or envious about something about you? If that makes sense. And I was thinking about that today because I'm a very deep thinker, and I sometimes wonder why people do the things they do. And I'm like, either she's goes both ways because she says her man does dig other chicks, or either she's envious about something. It's weird because people that and it got me thinking on a whole topic about envy, and I've done some topics before about envy and jealousy. I figure I talk about it a little, while I'm up. But sometimes people will ask you sexual questions and try to fish for information because they want to see what kind of person you are. Like, they either are like boundary breakers, and they're boundary breakers because they're trying to figure you out, like what kind of person are you? Are a sexual person, or you're someone that's freaky, are you somebody who tends to have a little more self-control, you know what I mean? And some people, believe it or not, envy things like that. They're jealous of that. I know when I was friends with the one girl I was friends with back a long time ago, she one time, she had mentioned to me like she can't stand virgins, right? She can't stand a woman that are how you put it, women that are self-controlled. They're very modest, or they tend to um, not give in easily. They're not easy, right? So she gets annoyed by women like that are prude and they're virgin like. When I say virgin, like, I mean, they don't necessarily have to be a virgin, but they tend to have respect for their body. Even the mindset of being pure, it bothered her. And I was like, that was another thing I thought was weird. And you know what's strange is that, you know, one day she was asking about my husband, and she was like, would you ever leave your husband? And I said, no, I would never leave my husband, because this is the time my husband wasn't working, right? And she says, oh, so you're never going to leave him? It was like she was disappointed that I said, nah. I said, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in divorce, like marriage, like leaving your husband for another man and just sleeping with them, unless they had done something like cheated. That's the only time you can divorce your husband. I don't believe in just divorcing my husband just because I'm not financially well. And I said I love my husband to death. Now, if I had to separate because, he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do, that's different. But I would never, like, no, never divorce him. No, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in going with another man while you're married. I don't believe that you should be with somebody else while you're married. If somebody else does that, I won't judge them. But you know what I mean? Like, I won't tell you what to do. But if you ask me what I think about that, I'll say it's wrong, because based on the Bible, right? You can't be with another man unless he was to pass away, or, like I said, he cheated or something. So when I told her that, she was disappointed. She was like, oh, you wouldn't leave him? I said, no, I ain't doing all that. And if I did, let's say my husband did cheat on me, and, he ran off to another woman, and let's say we got divorced, I wouldn't remarry. And sure as hell ain't gonna be running to another man. That's not, my life don't revolve around a man. So if something happened to me and my husband, I wouldn't be running to another man. That's just no. I don't want to get remarried. That's the thing. Like, I would just be living my life unless God had came and showed me a person that was of God. And trust and believe, God gives you discernment, so you can tell when someone's faking the funk. So it's like, and it would have to be like something God like supernaturally revealed to me. This is going to be somebody I send to you. But other than that, I wouldn't just go and remarry anybody. I wouldn't be looking for a man after I got out of a marriage. Like, no, hell no. Uh-uh. You know? Um, so it seemed like it bothered her. One day I remember, before our friendship ended, because she was doing weird shit. I went over that story many times. There was some men on TV, and I was with her and her ex-boyfriend that she supposedly wanted to still keep hanging out with. And I kept telling her, this man ain't good for you. He's never going to be serious and stuff. You need to find somebody else. She didn't want to hear it. He ended up breaking up with her, but she kept coming around him. And I said, she invited me to his house. And I said, why are we going there? And she says, oh, we're still friends. And I'm like, okay. I said, because, you said that you didn't want to be around him no more. And said, no, well, I'll go hang out and I want to see the cat. So we go to see the cat over there. And I just thought it was odd. We were hanging out. We were watching the Beatles movie, right? It was like a black and white movie. First time ever watching it. And actually we had a good time. There was no fighting, but I could tell that she was feeling some kind of way. Like, she would do weird shit. Like, she brought up my husband. And she said something to her ex-boyfriend. Oh, your new apartment is nice. And she's holding his cat. She says, wow, maybe you can have Candace live here with you. I said, what? Why would she apply something like that? Like, I'm married. I have like, it was like she was trying to use me to test him. And he was like, you know what he said to her? He says, no, Candace will never do that to her husband. Come on now, stop joking around. And I'm like, that is weird. Why would she say something like that? So I looked at her and I said, she says, you would never leave your husband? I said, no, I love my husband. I looked at her like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm sitting there like, no, I love my husband. You know what she said to me? I don't understand that. She don't understand love. She don't understand the idea of sacrifice, loving somebody to death, loving somebody to the end, through the good and bad. She says, I don't know what that love is. I don't know what that's like. And she said it right with him sitting there, or her ex-boyfriend, because I know they're just friends now, and I know she was bitter about him not, wanting to do anything. But what's weird? When I asked her if she wanted to get married to him, she says, I don't know. I don't want to get married, but I want the benefits of marriage. So it was like I seen that, okay, well then you guys are meant for each other because you guys are both selfish. You guys both equal each other's energies. And because you don't know what love is, it bothers you when you see other people love each other because you don't know what that's like. So when I saw that, I said, ooh, I gotta be careful around her. And surely but surely, later that night, we were watching some movies, the Beatles movie, black and white. She's like, oh, he looking good. And I was just talking to the guy, we were all talking. And so I was talking about, possibly moving, because at the time I didn't know if I was going to stay here in Jersey or not. And she said, I would screw that man big time, real fast. I screw him real hard. I was like, what the hell? I said, which one would you screw, Candace? And I looked at her, I said, none of them. Ooh, she got so angry. Because it's the truth, I wouldn't screw any of them. Why would I go and screw a guy just because? I don't care if I was single. I don't screw a guy just because I'm single. No, I don't believe in that. Have I made some mistakes, few mistakes in the past? Yeah, but for the most part, I'm just not that type of person. Like, I'm not somebody who just goes and runs to a guy and screws him. That's not me. Even if I was single, I just don't believe in that. So she was like, she got so angry when I said that. And it's like, why even ask me if you know that I'm not that kind of person? Let me tell you something about me. I have a very crazy imagination. I can have a very freakish imagination, but when it comes to reality, I put imaginations away, okay? I ain't going and running off and sleeping with anybody, anything. I could make stories, sex stories, all sorts of stuff. Of course, not so lately have I been doing that because I feel convicted easily now. I feel bad with certain things now. Like, I'm like, oh, I gotta be careful telling certain stories. I was like, I don't know if God will be too happy with me. So, but you know what I mean? Like, I can sit here and make jokes and make fun and make humor out of sex, all sorts of things. But when it comes to reality, my mind ain't focused on sex. I'm not a sex fiend person. That's just not me, you know? Um, so that I'm not somebody who just looks at a man on TV and says, "Oh, let me go run to him." You know what I mean? And if I had a chance, I'd run to him real quick. No, it's just not me. You know what I mean? That's just not the type of person I am. You know, I'm not the type of person that will go run to a guy and sleep with them just because I have the opportunity to. Like, that's just not me. It's just me. Yeah, that's who you are. Hey, that's who you are. No judgment on my behalf. I ain't gonna say nothing to you. So she got upset. It was like almost like she resented me that I would never even think to do something like that as a single person. It's weird. And it's weird because you're asking a married woman that, like, which one would I screw? None of them. Whether I was married or not married, I ain't screwing none of them. That's no. Hell no. So my point is what I'm trying to make is that there's sometimes people envy just the smallest, dumbest things about a person. They can envy you because you simply move about things in life in a positive way. You could be having all these bad things happening to you, but yet you still walk in such positive light and energy. You are thankful. You enjoy just living simply. There are men that will envy another man, or a woman that will envy another woman's marriage or lifestyle because they just live simply. They don't have a lot of money, but they're simple, they're happy, they're thankful, they have family. You know what I mean? They're happy with just the small things, and they can't enjoy the small things. So they envy someone that just enjoys the simple things in life. You know how many people are envious of that? A lot of people, more than what you expect. Some people envy the idea that you even have potential because they see you have potential to do better. You have something that light about you. You have a talent about you. They know you could do better. And they will envy the idea that you couldn't even get up to that level and things. There's some people that will envy you because simply you hold true to yourself and you're able to be yourself around people and you don't follow the crowd. You stand by yourself in confidence. You tend to be your own person. Even if you're weird, you're okay with being a weird outcast, and they could just envy the idea that you're like that. There are people who truly envy women that have inner beauty, but not women that don't look Like women that are not, like, how do you put this? They'll envy a woman that is not really considered attractive, but her personality is attractive. So attractive that it overpowers her looks. And same vice versa for a man. But a lot, especially for a woman, when a woman's inner beauty comes out and another woman that's beautiful sees that and he sees that is so attractive that her looks is overlooked and she says her personality is attractive, they hate that because it's like they got to work, they have to look good and feel like they have to look good. Instead of looking at themselves and working on their inner beauty, they rather look at yours and want to tear it down. And they envy that. You'd be surprised what people will envy and be jealous of. Seriously. You know, there's a lot to beauty than just your outer looks. And it's true. You know, that saying about beauty is skin deep is very true. You know, I remember there was this woman, right? She was like a singer. I think she was like a white lady, short, stubby looking. And people were like, oh, she looked ugly. When she started singing, you saw her beauty. She was the most beautiful woman. And you could see beauty coming out of her. And people's like, wow, when I saw and heard her voice, she was the most beautiful person. Like she was just a beautiful person I saw on a stage. And you know how many people are jealous of that? Because they don't got that in them. And it's not because they can't have it in them. It's because they don't work on themselves. They don't work on their inner beauty. They don't look to see and value themselves. And some people will be jealous of that you're valuing yourself. You're holding yourself with virtue, modesty, with respect. You're self-controlled. You know what I mean? And there will be people that would just be so angry with you because you have that ability, because you work on that side of yourself and they choose not to. So now they want to be mad or resentful with you. People will envy you for your successes, envy you how you carry yourself. It's crazy. It really is, you know, and you would think like people would be jealous because of money. Yeah, there are people who are jealous of that, but, or, you know, people are jealous of material things or the outer looks, but a lot of times it's what's deep within that people truly envy. That really gets people worked up because it's like that inner side, that innerness, that inner strength. Some people are just jealous of your strength as a person, and it comes out, and they could see. You don't even have to have money. You don't have to have gold. You don't have to have a beautiful body. It's just somebody can just see the beauty come out of somebody, their strength, their confidence to stand strong through everything, and they could just be so jealous of that because they don't have that in them, or at least they don't think they do. They self-doubt themselves. They see you have good self-esteem about yourself and they're jealous of that. Heck, there are people who are truly envious of your faith. There are people who are jealous because you pray better or they feel like your prayers are better. There's some people who are just envious because of your independency. You know, there are people who truly envy someone that is independent, that thinks for themselves, and they're like, and they don't need nobody. Not that they don't ever need someone, but I'm saying in general, they're not somebody who's very dependent. They're a very independent person, and there'll be people that'll be jealous of that. Envious to the degree because you're not someone who runs after people. You're like very independent. You stand by yourself. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, I thought about that, you know, earlier today, and I was talking about that with my coworker. You know, and what they'll do is they want to rip you down to get you out of character and rip that confidence, that beauty you have about yourself, that good, you know, your good light and personality. They're just so jealous of that, and they'll just sit there and they'll just find things come at you for. They'll point out your flaws, and then after that, they will try to do things to nick at you. You gotta be wise and say, you know what, this person obviously is envious because they're constantly nitpicking over stupid things, you know, and it's because they're envious of your light. It reminds them of something that they're not in. And where it comes down to is you got to realize that that's not your problem. It's not your issue, it's an inner issue. It's their issue. They're not happy. They're bitter from within. And the best thing to do with people like that is to definitely distance yourself and pray for them. Because at the end of the day, you ain't the one that's bitter. You're not the one that's sad. You're not the one that's out there throwing out hate on somebody and ripping down someone else's confidence and beauty and trying to assassinate their character because of your own envy and resentment. So it's like you pray for them, say, hey, life is good for me. I'm sorry that you don't feel the same. I'm sorry that you're mad that I'm going through so much in my life, but yet I'm standing strong. There's just some people like that. So you just, I figure it's something to share because, I'm sure that a lot of people everybody's gone through, been a victim of that, some worse than others. And, it's definitely not a problem that you can fix. It's something that has to be fixed from that person within. I'm going to drink my prune juice here. Mm. I'm not a big fan of prune juice, but this here, I warmed it up, so it's not too bad. And I'll drink a little water too. So yeah, it's people like that. Some people envy you because you're a woman that values herself, who works on them daily. Some people are even jealous of your honesty. Do you know that? Yeah, some people are just so jealous of your honesty and you being so like authentic, like real and genuine. There's just some people that envy that. Your qualities. And they'll try so hard to come at you and say, "Oh, you're fake. You're not that happy." I had someone that did that to me. It was a male man going back about 8, 9 years ago. How is she so happy? She's so fake. She's not that happy. And it's like, honey, who said I was always happy? It's how I carry myself. I choose to want to walk in light. I choose to want to walk in positivity and do the best I can. Some people are just jealous of that. But this time it was a man. And I'm like, wow. You could tell, like, okay, even if I was faking my happiness, why does it bother you so much? What does that have to do with you? It's because you see it's very real. My joy comes from the Lord. That's number one. It doesn't come from within it. My true happiness and joy comes from God. So even through my midst of my storms, God just keeps me moving, and I just try to look at the brighter side of things. Life is what you make it. You can either choose to go about it the negative, bad road, or you choose to go in the positive, good road. That's it. And so I choose to want to walk in the road of light and positivity and doing the best that I can and bringing joy. Is there something wrong with that? Absolutely not. But someone who's jealous and envious will make that seem that way. And so I just ignored the person because I knew that that person was just hating. Like, wow, really? You mad because somebody's happy and having a good day and they choose to walk in positivity? And you see that they have true joy and that they, no matter what's going on around them, they're just doing what they're doing. Wow, speaks volumes. So you be very surprised. I'm telling you, you'll be very surprised. The stupidest, smallest thing somebody will envy someone for. Some people will envy a woman that's natural and they're okay with their natural hair and they're okay with showing their flaws and they feel some kind of way about you. So they start making comments about your looks because guess what? They can never in a daylight, never in one day want to show how they naturally look like. So then they start envying you because people say, "Oh, you are natural. You're a natural beauty. You may have flaws. Oh, she got freckles on her face. She got freckles. Look at her." And they're like, "So what? She look good. You know, she okay. She got little stretch marks, but you know what? I like her confidence. I like that she is who she is. She'll put makeup on when she feels like it. But you got people like that. There's some people that envy you because you like I said before, you have self-control. You're not somebody who's easy out there. You have respect for yourself. You work on yourself. You ain't letting anybody in and out of you. You're not being out there sleeping around with a whole bunch of men. You tend to have some self-control. You tend to value yourself. You tend to be like, I'm not giving myself that easy. I'm too valuable. to just go and throw myself to anybody. So people will feel some kind of way about you. They'll be jealous of you. They'll be envious. And like I said before, it's not a surprise. You shouldn't be surprised, you know? So, heck, some people are just jealous of your creativity and envy of your ideas. I have a friend, she's very creative. I have a couple of people actually that are very creative. One, has her nail business, you know, very creative. The other one, she does art. She used to do like different kind of hairstyles. She was just good with certain things. You always had somebody around them that always got something to say. Always want to one up them or try to like lower them down, like humble them. When somebody's humbling you, okay, with your successes and your creativity, the envy and your own imagination, that you're just imaginative. Those and they're trying to humble you and talk about, well, you have a nice little business. Those are people that are just envious and they're just jealous. They're envious of your creativity and your imagination. And so they're that way. They're very creative. They're imaginative. They like to have fun. Some people are just envious because you're just somebody who wants to that goes out and enjoys yourself regardless. And you're not out there engaging in the gossip and the drama. And they're just envious of that. That you could just go about your day happy and doing things and you're just content and you're not trying to gossip. You're not trying to do what they're doing. So they feel some kind of way about you. So the same thing with them. They're that way. They're like, I'm going out. They do the creativity. They got certain talents about them, and you got somebody who will either copy off of them and what they're doing, their hairstyles or what they're doing or their business, and try to make it seem like, oh, look at me, And it's just a way to just try to intimidate them. They think in their own sick minds that I'm intimidating that person, and it's like that person ain't worried about you. They see through you and see that you obviously envious, you hating. You know what I mean? You're mad about something and that's not their problem. And they feel like, well, I'm not gonna tell anyone about her business, da, da. Okay, fine. She promotes it her own self. And guess what? It grew too. And so the other person's mad because they're like, pissed off that, bitter that things worked out for that person. So you have two friends, and they've had been victims to a lot of envy with a lot of their female friends and people, all because they were creative and they have ideas and they put it to work. And those other people didn't put their ideas to work because they lack whatever it is, whether it's just confidence, they lack the initiative to do things, and they're mad that you have initiative to do things. And they're just envious of that. So this is just to come and show you how much a person can just envy another person for. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It could be just the simple things. A lot of times it's just the simple things people will envy you for. They can have all the money, big house, everything, and yet still envy somebody that they see as small because they see you got potential, because they see that you're rich from within. Maybe you're not rich physically. Maybe you don't have everything they have, but they will envy your riches from within. They envy your riches and your way you carry yourself. They see your inner riches, your riches that you have that comes out of you, your talents, how you go about life. Your joy is so rich to them. They're like, I don't have that. They see you in a happy marriage. They're not happy. Before I go, because I know I've been on here for 34 minutes, and I'm going to just drink the rest of this down, have some water. And when I mentioned about a video I saw at work earlier, when I was taking a little mini break, I told my coworker about it. Well, there was a woman on there that was making a video. And I mean, I don't think it's wise to make a video towards your haters, but that's what she did. And then let me just say, there are people that are true braggers out there. They brag about their life, and that is a little annoying. But there are just some people that truly are just being themselves, and people are just mad about it because they're being themselves. So this woman, right, was married. And, I think the biggest mistake she made was making a video to her haters and saying, F you. I don't think that she should have never said that. It was on like a shorts on YouTube. And she was like a light-skinned like lady. I don't know if she was black or mixed. I don't know what she was. She could have been Spanish too. And she was talking about how people came at her, was criticizing her personally because she chooses to be a submissive wife, right? And she says, when I say submissive wife, I'm not talking about somebody who's sitting there and I don't got rules and regulations. I'm somebody who respects her husband. I'm a stay-at-home wife. I have take care of my kids. I cook, I clean, I wash dishes, I take care of my husband. And the women on the comment section, instead of them being happy for her, they were so bitter and upset. You need to be more independent. You needed this. You needed that. You're a house slave. These are the comments that were coming up. And I said, oh my gosh, ripping this woman down because she's in a successful, happy marriage. And she's like, oh yeah, I take care of my husband. My husband is my king. I love him. He takes good care of me. A house slave. So she's like, I'm a house slave. Let me show you what I got. So she showed everything her husband bought her. She's sure I'm just being a house slave and I don't get nothing in return. Like, look what he buys me. Look what he got me. Now, I'm not saying I would have done the same. I don't need to go and show what my husband gives me. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that people were just so envious. It wasn't that they were mad because she's submissive. It wasn't that they were mad because she was not independent. It's because they're mad because she has something they don't have. They're mad that she's got a marriage that's successful, a man that takes care of her and values her. So they want to turn that around and make it look like he ain't valuing her because she's being submissive and she's being honoring to him and giving him the title he deserves and staying at home and blah blah blah. Yes, right. That's her right. That's the way it's supposed to be. But if a woman wants to work, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't sit there and try to get mad when you see a woman that's actually being taken care of. She's like, I do work. You know what I do? I take care of this house. I take care of him. I take care of his kids. I bear his kids. You know what I mean? I make him dinner. I clean stuff. I take care of his appointments. I take care of things that like bills and all this. You know what I mean? You got to do all the inner work in a house. It's hard to run a household. That is work. Work means work. And I ain't doing it for a salary from an employer. So yeah, I ain't no house slave. So that's what she was trying to make it clear to these women. Like she was making a point that there's a lot of envy out there and a lot of jealous people. It's true. Some people envy you because you cook well. I'm gonna tell you, this is true. There's a family member of mine that goes on Facebook, does her cooking and stuff. People are like, oh wow, you such a great cook. And there was a man that came on there, right? So, yo, you make some good food. Yo, I love your culinary arts, right? Because all they post on their Facebook is their culinary arts and pictures of them and their family, like positive stuff. But you got somebody as negative Nancy bitter that comes up over there and want to ruin something, and she goes in there and says, is that all you do is cook? You don't do anything else? And what my family member said, yeah, that's what I do. That's my life. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing. So I share the things that I enjoy doing is my culinary arts. What about you? And when you look at that person's page, you see nothing but gossip, somebody with their drama, somebody walking around trying to look cute with their booty shorts. And then you want to judge another woman that's choosing to put her cooking out and use her Facebook page for positivity and light. Well, that speaks volumes. So it spoke to me. I said, wow, I bet you 10 to 1 that woman don't know how to cook. And they sure as hell didn't. And then their man is sitting there looking at somebody else cooking. Seriously, I've seen that. There's some people who are just envious because they see another woman cooking good for her husband. They'll try to purposely interrupt your plans because they know you're getting ready to cook. I saw it for myself. It wasn't me. It was somebody else that I know. And they were a cook. They were my family. And I went over and I saw how the woman, every time we had a family get together and we were cooking, she was trying to interfere and do things. And I was like, this woman is weird. Why is she doing that? And I realized it's because they were jealous. Yep. And I said, wow. So people are just so envious because you could cook better and they don't know how to cook. Then go turn on some YouTube videos and learn and take the initiative and learn how to freaking cook. Or don't hate on another woman that knows how to cook and she's doing her culinary arts and stuff and she's showing some good positivity. And so, I could sit here and say the same. Is that all you do on your channel is gossip and talk about people all day and drama? I could sit back and say the same to you, but I don't. because it's not, you didn't ask for my advice. You didn't ask for my, my input on things. So I shut my mouth. Do I think that that's something you should be putting on social media? No, I think that's foolish. But it floats your boat. If that's what floats your boat is drama and problems, then hey, that's on you, not my thing. But don't come over here get mad because I choose to do things and put positive content out. And that's what I saw with my family member. They were putting up some positive content, and trying to make the best of things. And people like, wow, you cook so well. And sadly, you had that one person, little negative Nancy, who had to turn around something positive into something negative. And they thought they were going to get a hype out of it. And the first thing is, well, if that's what you feel, yep, that's how I do things. Hey, whatever floats your boat, everybody's different. I like to do this. This is what I do on Facebook. Just like everybody else posts pictures of their family or post pictures of where they're going, I like to post pictures of my cooking. Oh, that woman shut up. She realized that you're not getting a reaction. She was hoping that, she would get that person get out of character because they're like, well, how do I get myself to rip this person down and make them look bad? So people could say something bad about them. So that's what they do. They'll try to set you up. So I learned over the years, I got a lot wiser over the years. I learned that don't be so quick to respond to that. Don't even bother. When people are sitting there and they're trying to throw hatred at you and they're trying to throw shade in your name, slandering your name through the mud, it's because they got an inner issue. It's nothing to do with you, especially if you've never done nothing bad to them. And all you did was walked away and said, whoop, I threw my I threw my gloves in, like with the boxer and you throw the towel in, I threw my gloves in, the towel, I ain't dealing with that. I'm not dealing with this. I'm walking away and I'm doing me. And they see that you're just minding your business. Some people are just jealous of that because you tend to just go about life minding your business and doing you. And so people will just be envious that you can even do that and that you tend to move in a way that they don't. So I learned to just move back. I don't waste time trying to answer foolishness. I don't waste time trying to put my input into something foolish. Maybe at one time when I was younger, I didn't know how to deal with those kind of things. But now that I'm older now, I see it now. I see the whole picture of things. So I'm not quick to respond with things unless I feel it's necessary. And it's never going to, like I said, it would have to be very necessary. Like a point, like it has to be necessary. Like if I'm going to respond, there has to be something brought to light. Otherwise, I just move back. I say, okay, whatever. If that person wants to feel that way, that's on them. That ain't my problem. Somebody want to think I'm stupid, dumb, whatever. Let them think that. They want to think I'm fake or I'm crazy. Let them think that. At the end of the day, they don't validate me. And neither do they validate you. For those who watch, if you're going through that, they don't validate you. That's their own insecurities and sadness and bitterness. That's not yours. It don't belong to you. So you tell them, take that back because it ain't belonging to me. That ain't my space. Because guess what? I'm doing good over here. Shit, I ain't bitter. I'm doing good. So you can believe whatever you want. But I figure I'd go because it's 43 minutes in. Figured it was a good topic for 2 a.m. in the morning. It's probably almost going on 3. I'm going to try to get some more sleep. I feel so wide awake. But, a little incy-bincy stuff left. But I don't like drinking prune juice like too cold. I hate that. I don't like that at all. Let's see, I'll put this here. I'm going to just microwave this for 10 seconds. So, yeah. So it was something I thought about. And I said, that's a really good topic, something to bring out to light. It's always a constant reminder. So when you're going through something like that, somebody's just attacking you for no reason or saying things that's not true about you. They try to humble you or try to make you out to look like something you're not, try to do assassination character. You already know what that's all about, and move back from that. And don't even respond. Don't give them what they want. Your silence is your power. So You just move back from that. They want to, they'll sit back and try to convince people they're not doing that great. They're not. That's because they're envious and they can't stand the fact that you are truly moving the way you are truly moving. So don't take it personal. It's not your problem. It's not your issue. You're not the one with the problem. You know? It'd be different if you were the one with the problem and you were doing that to somebody else, but you're not. You're not bitter. You're not looking at somebody else's life and ripping down someone because if you're of some jealousy or envy. You're working on yourself daily. So you're not the problem. Don't let anybody ever humble you and tell you, you have to humble yourself and lower yourself or make you feel bad about the way you're moving in your life, especially when it's in a positive way and it's done nothing but giving you good results. If you move a certain way in your life and you see nothing but good out of it, you know you made a right decision. And there'll be people in this world that will just be so mad, resentful, and bitter and angry about that. And that's not your problem. You just keep your head up high and you keep moving. Expect the backlash, expect people to talk shit. But that's not your problem. That's their problem. And then, like at the end of the day, it ain't got nothing to do with your life. Their insecurities, their problems, their resentment is their own reality, not yours. So, God bless everybody. Take care. Drink water. I'm going to go to bed. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.